All right. All of the equipment on this farm runs, and it's all in the same building, and that building is on fire, and you have enough time to pull out one major piece of equipment.
Little Agco.
Little Agco.
It's not super valuable, but we cannot use the pull type combine without the little Agco.
Yeah.
And we know none of them are inside, so I don't have to pull them out.
I'd probably take the big seed cleaner because it would take the most time and hassle to put it back together. Little Agco, you drop $25,000, and that sucks. Like, take out a loan for another tractor, but
as far as stuff that can't be replaced,
I'd take the twin,
the old pallet hooker.
That cannot be remade. I mean, that was just pure genius.
It's a one-off invention right there.
It's kind of a Banksy type of
piece, the old flash in the pan inventor, the one-hit wonder.
When we eventually get something that actually can put bands on pallets, I'm going to put that in a frame. I'm hanging on the wall.
So for reference to everyone, Kent invented a thing that is a clip at the end of a stick.
Yep.
And it is like suspiciously useful.
Zip tied to the end of the stick.
To the end of a stick.
One black zip tie, one binder clip from
oversized binder clip.
Yep, oversized binder clip and old broom pole.
And life is 90% better.
You haven't zip tied or you haven't strapped a thing to a pallet in a while.
I know.
Riley's been
I
taking
love that
seriously.
for myself.
I take advantage of that invention every day, and I dream of the day we actually have professional equipment to do that.
Okay, you got to strap 100 pallets. No. You got to strap 200 pallets without the pallet hooker, or wrap 50 pallets by yourself in one day.
I don't know if I could strap 200 pallets in a day.
Dude, we were No, you don't have to do them all in one. I mean, you got to go until, full work days until it's done.
I don't know, because by the time you get to like fourth or fifth pallet that you're wrapping without a wrap,
you're ready to barf.
Yeah, you're like in pain. And so it's not like, oh, that's kind of miserable, but I could do that for a few hours and get 50 of them done. They get worse every single one you add on.
Oh, yeah. You get so dizzy and you're bending over and everything else.
And I tried to go the opposite way on the next pallet, and it didn't make it any
and then
better.
half the wrap keeps going, but the other half stays on the roller.
Yeah.
So it's all screwed up. You got to back up.
Yeah. It's like
I would do the strapping pallets anytime.
Really? The 200? Yeah, but there's 200 and it'd take days and it's miserable.
Yeah.
I'd take that. You just go slow.
Let's ask the guy who's got to do it all the time.
I'd ask the audience to imagine if you've ever done that yard game where you put your head on a baseball bat on the ground and you spin around for about 30 seconds and then try and run straight a direction. That's what it's like wrapping pallets when you got to walk around it.
Yes.
You're looking down at it and you're walking around it. I would wrap them every time, because the first pallet you I would band, because the first pallet you wrap, you get confident. You go, okay, I'm a little queasy, but you know what? I did pretty good. The third pallet, it's no terrible. Good. No good.
When I first came on the team here, officially, after college, and I remember being like, okay, we're like a little local company that does little local stuff, and then someone from like Illinois called and they wanted to order seed, and I was like, I don't know if we ship that far. Like, we might deliver.
It was a $10 million sale. And Nick's like, yo, you're in Illinois. Oh, that's too bad.
Well, and I called another company that was a couple states away, and was not about that sale, about something totally different. And I remember talking to them like, I know more about Prairie than you, and I'm not an expert. My dad definitely knows more about Prairie than you. I think we should and you're selling across the whole country. We should do more than just our little regional area. We should at least do Iowa. And so basically, we do Iowa, and states touching Iowa is the vast majority of where we ship. And but I think ecotype matters. usually if people are complaining to me about ecotype, it's because they didn't have the right ecotype, so they lost money.
Yeah.
Usually it's a money thing.
Yeah.
So I try to
or like academic or academic adjacent, organization that's ordering the seed also cares a lot about ecotype.
Oh yeah, but in the other direction.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I got. Wait, I want to hear Riley's answer. One piece of equipment.
Oh, I said the twin.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a one-off.
Yeah.
Everything else within reason we can probably find.
Yeah.
It's just painful.
I'd take my answer back on the Little Ag Co.
Okay.
I would probably go with what you said as far as the big seed cleaner, just because everything's so modded up on that thing.
Yeah.
It workflows really well. But yeah, Riley's answer is really good too. I just don't want to talk about it because it's top secret.
Well, if you had, let's say, it'd take a week minimum of a couple people working on our on a new big seed cleaner to get it out, knowing what they're doing. But just having the peace of mind that ours works, and every time you set something up that big, doesn't always work. You can have headache after headache after headache with it.
You want to hear something cool I learned though from Will when he was here?
Yeah.
Give a shout out to a company we do a fair bit of. I don't know if we do really business with them. We
mostly just trade.
We buy stuff from them. They buy stuff from us.
Commodity
good
traders.
For you, good for me.
We trade with them.
Commodity Traders International out of Mattoon, Illinois, the Mattoon Green Wave.
I mean, if you're looking for like older shake and shift clipper style, there's like
mills and
2 companies in the U.S. that still work on them and know what they're doing.
These guys know everything about them. And I was asking about our Clipper 116, which they say is not a very popular, and it hasn't been through its existence a popular size, but we love it.
Yeah,
it's
a very weird size.
Yep, it's a weird size machine, and it's very old. Turns out. I asked him how old it was, and he said, well, you can kind of tell. If I remember correctly, it's the First World War. If it was made after the First World War, the wood that makes the machine is filled with knots. Like it's like a real knotty pine or oak construction. But if it's pre-World War I, then you'll see 0 knots in the wood. The framing of the machine, because it was like, that was a craftsmanship thing for them.
They were proud to not have it.
Right, yeah. We use only the finest lumber, but during wartime, lumber was in such demand that they had to use the cast-off stuff to make new machines, and ours does not have any knots. So it's probably like around 1900 is a year on that thing, which is pretty cool because whenever we give tours, people ask, how old is that? And I think the big one Carol said is from like the 60s. It's not that old. But that little 116, which we use just as much, if not more, than the big seed cleaner, that one is truly over 100 years old, like 125 years old, possibly.
Man, that is wild. Because we rely a lot on that. 125-year-old.
It still works great.
The wheels are spinning.
I mean, we've had to fix some things on it, but you keep that stuff greased up and stop running it when it's making weird noises. Use all your senses, as Carol would say.
Yeah.
the Vanderbilt was once asked. He was the richest person in the world at one point. He was once asked, how do you
railroad tycoon, right? He's got the Vanderbilt mansion.
Yep. And how did you stay ahead of your competition? And he said that he invested in the new technology first of what was going on. We don't do that. We're literally trying to bring things back that didn't exist or that haven't existed for 100 years. The prairie ecosystems and turns out older equipment is often easier, or honestly, it's just like so expensive to get fancy machines to do this stuff. And if John Deere wanted, or some big company, they could invest a bunch of money and make a cheaper version, but they're not going to invest $1 billion to invent a way to build something that 30 people are going to buy or 100 people are going to buy.
And I think there's definitely exceptions to this, I'm sure, but I think overall we've passed the point of diminishing return on buying new. We've talked about like those reels would be like, this is an $850,000 house, and it shows the just tons
Terrible
of problems.
workmanship.
Cheap materials and stuff like that. Which I need to put it into correction. My brother Jake, who's a building inspector, said that the construction for houses now is back to 2x6. For a while it was 2x4, but now it's back to
Okay.
Of course, it's a nominal 2x6 though. Not a dimensional.
Hardly bigger than a traditional 2x4.
Right.
Yeah.
But I think, just a lot of things, the components that make it up. Like, if you've worked on any kind of like small engine or, maybe not an engine itself, but like a pump or, some like highly mechanical device, right? Got a lot of moving parts. You crack into a lot of those things anymore, and half of it is plastic.
There was a manufacturer, as a car manufacturer, I won't name them, but did a plastic oil pan for a while.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Plastic components in a originally metal thing that experience heat is wild to me. It's just like begging for failure.
Right, and it's just I think some of it probably is planned obsolescence, which we've talked about before. Which a podcast guest and listener or friend of the show, Derek Orth, texted. I meant to tell you this, Riley. He backed you up on your what's it called, Speed Queen washers.
Oh yeah, washers and dryers.
He said those things are bulletproof. He has one.
Yeah,
interesting.
They're on Facebook Marketplace, and everybody asks exactly what they sell for, and they're like, "This thing, it's not going to die." Yeah, they're confident.
Well, and that's interesting because Derek deals with cows, and so his clothes are gross.
Yeah,
But
I do think we've we've crossed some threshold where buying new. There's exceptions, but a lot of times it's not better quality than if you had the old version of that thing.
Yeah, we don't make anything better quality.
Right.
It's just not how we operate. My wife and I. She loves to flip furniture. I'd be shocked.
Furniture, I bet, is number one.
Oh yeah, I'd be shocked if we broke even with the time that she has spent on it. But she loves doing it.
Yeah.
Loves doing it. It makes really cool stuff. Judd was like losing his mind. He's our artsy guy on the team.
I bet he
losing his
was.
mind about how cool he thought it was. And she won't even look at something if it's less than 50 years old. She's like, ugh, no.
Yeah.
The thing's gonna fall apart.
Yeah, that's when we were furnishing our apartments and then houses. For the most part, that's what we would do. Is we would go to those what do they call them, like upcycling stores or whatever, furniture flip stores. We'd go to all those things back when I don't see many of them around anymore.
There's a really nice one in Des Moines,
Is there?
but it's kind of interesting. They set a price. And then on that price tag, it has a date and then a lower price, and then another date and a lower price. And so it's saying, hey, if this is still here at this date, it's worth we're selling it for this price, and it just keeps going down.
Yeah. That is kind of an interesting idea.
Yeah,
creates a little urgency in there.
Yeah,
it a little bit.
I know. I remember thinking this is brilliant marketing.
But that's how we got most of our furniture, because you get it for a decent price, and it was just so much better quality than what you would get at the big box furniture store or whatever.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, should we jump in? Should we get started? Coffee Time Wednesdays with the Prairie Farm Podcast.
Can't hit us with the jingle.
One of my least favorite things in the whole world is dealing with red tape, paperwork, and bureaucracy. And at the very top of those things, insurance. I used to have, big company insurance because I thought me doing all the stuff online or with a robot phone call would be cheaper. Boy, was I wrong. My wife and I switched to McKay Insurance for everything personal and business that we interact with. And not only do we save over $1,000 a year, yes, $1,000 a year, we get to interact with real people no longer having to deal with those robot phone calls, the terrible online interface. I mean, what is with those 1980 online interfaces? Well, we personally work with McKay Insurance. I can personally stamp my approval on working with them. I've worked with 5 different people from there. Every single one of them was incredible. And they give you big customer efficiency and pricing, if not better, with a very small company feel. They really take care of you. Highly recommend McKayINSagency.com. That's McKayINS agency.com. You won't regret it. Welcome back to the Prairie Farm Podcast, Coffee Time Wednesday. I'm your favorite host, Nicolas Lirio, with your favorite co-host, Ken Boucher.
Hey.
And your favorite co-host to the coast, Riley Rosendahl.
Howdy, howdy.
We've got to talk about the new studio a little bit. Nick deserves a little credit for this. Well, Nick and Riley. Riley vacated the premises.
Yeah. Me leaving created this opening.
I've been drinking and taking magnesium supplements. That's all we'll say. And Riley said, "Hey, I need an office closer to where the seed is stored."
It was becoming
farther from you.
It was becoming a hostile work environment.
So we jokingly say that Riley is HR, and when we first said that, he's like, I'm not HR." But occasionally someone will say or do something, and Riley will be like, "All right, HR is here."
Yeah, we got to bust that down when you can. Sometimes things get out of control around here. The magnesium is one of those things.
Nick's colorectal health.
Hey, colorectal. We talked about that last week.
Yeah, we sure
cancer.
did.
And, I'm pretty sure I don't have it. It's healthy. So a lot of this stuff, well, some of it was actually sent to us in the mail, different cool things, old newspaper clippings from the farm, old pictures from the farm. But if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see there's stuff behind us because we moved where we're doing things because Riley needed us to stop setting up and tearing down in the middle of his work environment.
Right where he mixes seed.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
Like, oh, you're in the middle of an order? We got to do a podcast.
My favorite sign, if you're looking at the YouTube video, you can see it's right behind me. It's an NFO collective bargaining like metal sign that my grandfather had when he was in the NFO. He was the rep for the region. And that is just like a cool piece of history, but it doesn't exist anymore. And then
you can actually hear Carol talk about that.
Oh yeah,
in a couple episodes, and then also with
Larry Terpstra.
Yeah, Larry Terpstra.
Yeah, but that was like that was 100 or more episodes ago, probably.
Yeah, I think it's like June of maybe 24.
Oh yeah, maybe 150 because we do about 100 episodes a year.
Yeah, so I'd go back to that range. June of 24, I think, is when we had that.
I don't know if you can see it in frame, but when Kent is talking, Kent, say some stuff.
Hello. Check out this cool sign behind me.
We have a sign of my daddy won the No-Till Award for Jasper County, and that's the only sign we could actually hang. He actually got second place for no-till corn and no-till beans in 1984. And just wanted to prove to everyone that he was doing conservation way before it was cool.
Yeah.
But the one where he got second place, he actually was second place of the whole state, not just Jasper County. So it was a cool thing. And he was really proud of those awards. So I wanted to honor him a little bit.
And Alex had to retrieve a few of them from the old house before we tore it down.
Mm-hmm. My dad.
He was like literally like walking on like the baseboards because there was no floor.
He did not like maintenance. So he had this house that he grew up in and his dad grew up in. It was like 100-year-old house, and he took it over when he took over the farm, and he never fixed anything on that old house, and it was falling apart. And he moved right out of that house into the house that I grew up in. I mean, probably 15 years before he even met my mom. But 15 years before that, he moved in. Well, he didn't move any of his stuff except for some of his clothes. It was just a different house on the farm property. When that one, there was like rain coming in through the roof on this first house he lived in, and a raccoon living with him. And he went, I should probably move to that other house. So he grabbed a few of his clothes. So all of his stuff was still in that house, including some of these signs and some other stuff. So yeah, it was cool. A lot of history here. If you send us something, assuming that it's
cool
relevant.
enough.
We'll throw it on up there. We'll throw it on. We've got some cool.
If it's gold plated enough, it'll probably end up there.
Paul's son, I'll leave his name out of it. Paul's son wrote us a letter, and that was really, really cool. We got the cool. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was a letter that he was doing for homework. He's like learning how to write. So there's like 4 words per page, but it was awesome.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things I've ever gotten in the mail.
Still better handwriting than my own.
yeah, that is very true. Man. All right, well, I have a topic for us today. Last year, about this time, we talked a little bit about lawns, and people were very excited about lawns.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you don't have to worry about any farm guilt when it comes to ag runoff when you start thinking about lawns, right, Nick?
Yes. You can tell that most of the nitrate runoff comes from fertilizer on lawns because that's not what the data says at all. In fact, Dr. Keith Schilling
You want to hear something funny before you get into it?
Yeah.
So, and this is part of a good story as well on old stuff. So I've had this decrepit old backpack. You guys know the one, the green backpack.
Oh yeah.
And my wife, turns out, has hated it since the day I got it.
You didn't know it?
I didn't know she hated it even back when I guess it was somewhat new.
You got it at a thrift store?
No. I found it in a trash can.
Oh, even better.
In my dorm basement. Oh, and I was a janitor in my dorm, and I was cleaning up, and I saw, this is a perfectly good backpack. And I needed one real bad because mine was falling apart completely. And so I snagged it, and I've used that thing since roughly 2011, 2012 timeframe. So
good.
about 15 years. Well, for all of those 15 years, Caitlin has hated it. And for the last 5, she's really hated it.
Why?
Because it's just completely falling apart. Neither of the zippers work anymore. Why do you use it? She said she hated it because it was always floppy. It was just like
it is very floppy.
Yeah, it was just like looked like
it's
trash.
a little better than a napkin sack you'd tie around a stick. It's a little better.
A knapsack. So she's been telling me, you need to get a new backpack. You need to get a new backpack. And I did some, 5 minutes searching around for a good one. I wanted one that had a laptop sleeve like this one had because I carry my laptop in it when I use it. And
it's worth more than your car.
But I wanted like a nice backpack. And I thought I found one at one time, but it was too big. It was too big and too bulky. So I had like a temporary replacement that just didn't work out. And I ended up using it for hunting instead. And so I'm back to using the old green floppy backpack that came out of the trash bin. Well, this last week, my wife went to some garage sales with her work friends. And she's like, I got you a new backpack. All right. So she brings it home and it still has the $5 sticker on it. I think I'm going to leave it on there. And it's the funniest thing because the backpack she got me, not only is it used, but it is the backpack I had before I got the one out of the trash can.
Really?
It's the same make and model of that backpack. And so things have come full circle. But anyways, while I was cleaning out
She's trying to get back to the man she first fell in love with.
Yeah, that's right. So while I was cleaning out my old backpack, there's, you know how backpacks are. They got like 3 pockets. You only use one of them.
Yep.
So I was getting into the pockets I never use, right? And I'm pulling out these old papers from when I was teaching and stuff, and found some old pay stubs, which were interesting and depressing. but I found this paper, and I had forgotten about this, but I was asked to go and judge an FFA science fair it was like for all these high schools in this region in Illinois. And these kids presented their research and stuff. And here was this paper that this girl, like 10 years ago, had done a study on this exact thing that you're talking about. Ag runoff and lawn runoff and what's the, who's the real culprit here. And the tone, because it's a high school kid and I'm guessing, her personal background was very much on the ag side of things. The tone of the whole paper was very much, and everyone thinks it's ag's problem, but when you look at the concentration of what's being applied on And so it was very interesting to see that.
Well, that's true data. I mean, if you look at how much fertilizer, it's many, many, many times what they put on ag.
And if we had 30 million acres of golf courses and residential lawns,
it would be better. We'd have less nitrate runoff. And the main thing, I can't remember who told us this, but the main thing is just that there's like real plants still in the ground that could take up the nitrogen. So you can dump way more nitrogen on them. But actually, that's not quite what I'm talking about today.
Oh, okay.
It is about lawns. It's a little different. Have you seen the popular square meter, don't mow it, let it grow?
Oh yeah, like No Mow May type thing.
Yes, or No Mow Lawns, or Save the Bees, Leave the Dandelions. Have you seen all these lawn things?
I mean like the sentiments. Yeah, I've seen.
Yes,
them advertised,
okay. Yeah. So I was trying to figure out which of these sentiments are actually good, which ones are actually relevant. So I did a little digging, and by far the entity that has done or at least put the most out there that I could find was University of Minnesota Extension. So similar to Iowa State Extension, except Minnesota, and which makes sense because Minnesota has their no mow lawn, like what would you say?
I think they just call it No Mow May, don't they?
Well, they have like a grant that you can apply and replace your lawn with things we'll talk about here in a second.
Wait, so you're saying no mow just permanently? You're getting rid of lawn species and putting in something else?
Yes, that is. There's the No Mow May, right? And that was because early spring bees really struggle to have, because what was there, in April and May, think of the prairie species that are there. Yeah. They're very expensive. They're very dainty. They're very fragile. They need more help. They're not like big blue stem. They're not like New England aster, stiff goldenrod that are really hardy, that hang out in ditches in the fall. Right? So the early spring was when these bees needed the most help. But it's not, I mean, the sentiment is good. And I actually found an old quote from Chad Gravy on our podcast. He said, the more effort you put into your lawn, the less value it has for anything. And that's kind of true.
Yeah, you're just trying to get it down to a monoculture of one species of grass.
Yep, exactly. So I want to start with, I'm just going to go through a few species on whether they have real value for bees. And some of them kind of talk about butterflies, but mostly we're talking about bees.
Are these native or non-native?
I believe all the ones I have here are non-native.
It'd be kind of fun if I could guess a few. See if they're on your list.
What brings value?
Hit me. What do you got? We've obviously got dandelions.
White clover, Dutch white clover.
Yep, I got that here.
Yeah, dandelions, Dutch white clover. Trying to think of something else.
What about red clover?
Nope, I don't have that. It's too tall.
What about this is definitely going to be too tall, but it'd be interesting if it was on there because there's so much of it. Wild parsnip.
Nope, not on there. These are things that are in lawns.
So real short.
Not niches.
Wood sorrel. Is that
nope.
That's a common one that's real short. Oh, plantain maybe?
Nope, I didn't have that one on here.
The guessing game's not working. Here's,
the self-heal or heal all is pretty common. Now that one's a little bushier. White clover's definitely on here. Violets are on here.
Yeah.
And then creeping Charlie.
Yep.
Right? So we'll start with our good friend the dandelion. Low, medium, or high on the
utility.
Yeah, for bees.
And this would include native bees, or
yep.
I'm going to say high.
Okay.
I'd give it a medium.
Yeah,
I think they maybe people see stuff on them just because there's so many dandelions.
It's basically a fast food burger, but you could rank it higher because it flowers when we don't have anything else. Yeah. Right. And so because of that, it's like, well, McDonald's will get you through a few
starvation.
Days, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that's where that one, the dandelions, I thought that was interesting. And
bees clog their arteries on dandelions.
White clover, obviously not native. What do you think for value to bees?
I'm going to go. Oh, Riley, you guess first this time.
I would say that's of a higher value.
Okay.
would be my guess, just because it's coming in like after I think of dandelions usually.
It does last a long time too, like it goes. But it's not, I don't see white clover up yet at this time of year, and I've already seen violets and dandelions up. I'm going to go medium on it.
Okay. In terms of just native bee value overall, it is high and probably the highest
Oh,
non-native.
Riley's kicking my butt.
Yeah, he's doing a good job. And so the USDA, what the information this comes from, the USDA did a big thing, specifically Dr. Susanna Lerman, I believe is how you, in 2018, looking into how valuable are our common non-native species for native bees. Heal all was high. Violets are high, but for specific bees. I think there's a bee called a violet mining bee. Like there's a specific, so it is very high for some of them and not, and a lot of them are just irrelevant. And then the great spangled fritillary butterfly caterpillars have to be on violets. And so,
And there is that a native butterfly?
yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
I wonder why it has to be on
But
natives.
all violets
Or on a
not all
non-native plant.
violets are non-native. A
Yeah,
bunch
there
of
are
them. Yeah.
native. There are native violets. Yes,
Yep.
that's true.
And then henbit is a moderate. It's a medium. It definitely better than nothing.
That doesn't surprise me because it's got such a short window of bloom. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And they did a study with, let's see if I can actually find the name of the guy. It's in here somewhere. That he looked into what actually is in the components of the nectar or of the pollen of the specific plants, and does it match with what bees need for their physiology. And so that's where a lot of this information is coming from as well. Creeping Charlie is bad. It's just not. It's not good for bees. It's not that useful, and it smothers other.
Not good
more
for you.
useful
Not
things.
good for
Not
us.
good. That's a story we got to tell sometime. Here is what was really interesting. So the no mow thing, like if you just let your Kentucky blue, what?
I'm just thinking of the not good for you, not good for us.
Another
We're
time
not telling him. We're not telling him.
Okay, so
No, you're not telling
I'm not telling it. No, so here, this was fascinating. A lot of companies talk about conservation, but I want to tell you about a company that actually puts their money where their mouth is. Birdhuntersupply.com is a great company. I know the owner, Joe. He's a great dude. We've had the privilege of working with him, and let's just say he really puts his money where his mouth is. A large percentage of his profits from Bird Hunter Supply go to a conservation organization of your choice at checkout. So your purchase actually puts money towards conservation, and it's not just a roundup. It's not just asking you to donate on top of your purchase. This is included with your purchase. This man is running his very own small business version of Pittman Robertson, except without all the government stuff. I'm a big fan of that. So whether you're buying hunting apparel, decoys, dog training gear, you are actually going to be giving back to conservation. That is my friend Joe at birdhuntersupply.com. We love that company. We love what they have going on. Oh, and they do a really great job with their website. Makes it very easy. birdhuntersupply.com. If you just leave your lawn grass and you just let it grow, it becomes the perfect conditions for ticks. But if you plant native grasses, like buffalo grass, or if you have tall native grasses and a wildflower mix, the ticks, there's a lot more space for the sun to dry out the ground because the ticks want that moist, warm, humid conditions. And so when Kentucky blue or fescue, or if you have brome in your ditches or something, they get tall and then they just kind of fall over. They kind of fall over.
Right.
They start trapping in moisture, and they create this perfect tick condition and rat condition.
Really?
If you are going to leave and like a square meter, and not do anything with it, that's fine, but don't hang out in there, and don't do your whole yard like that. If you're going to do your whole yard, put some pretty wildflowers down and do it that way. Now,
That's interesting.
yeah. So the No Mow May was all based on a study in 2020 in Wisconsin about that bees can live off of the non-natives healthily and happily if we just stop mowing in May. It would really help the bees. So the whole movement was started in 2020 with that. In 2023, they reviewed that journal and debunked it really bad. They said that the people who did the study grossly misidentified a lot of the bees, and a lot of them that they were saying were getting enough nutrition off of it weren't even native bees. And they said that they weren't tracking them later in their life well enough, and that a lot of the data was misused. I don't know what that means in research terms, but misused. And I just thought that was interesting because there's all this sentiment of like, well, we got to save the bees. We got to have the dandelions. We got to do this stuff. And I am a proponent of, not manicuring your lawn. There's a lot of just human value of getting over things looking a little messy. I don't mean like a disaster, but like a little messy. And, but it means a lot more to actually just have like 50 square feet of a wildflower patch, for the bees. But here was something interesting in the University of Minnesota Extension. They put out a whole thing that said better than No Mow May is actually not raking your leaves. It does way more for the bee the native bee population to just leave your leaves.
To hibernate.
Yep. And David Majewski, was it Majewski? Yeah. He came on the podcast, and that was like his big thing. Was like, don't rake your leaves, dude. I'm all for not raking the leaves. No big fan of not raking the leaves. No kidding. Have you noticed that? Not to get in the difference of like different generations and worse or better, but we like millennials and Gen Zers are now homeowners. A lot of us are homeowners. We don't win the best garden competitions in town. And I wonder if when boomers and Gen Xers when they were 20s and 30s, if any of them were winning their best lawn in the neighborhood or whatever. Like, is it truly a generational difference, or is it an age thing? When we get older, we'll care a little more about it.
I can definitely see why lawn manicuring became a big deal, because if you retire, you still want something to do, right? And there is an aspect of like farm work where when you're in the tractor, whether let's say you're disking, like that's kind of fun. You know what I mean? Like it's just
going back and forth.
Well, and maybe not fun, but it's predictable, and there's true satisfaction that comes from equipment running well and getting some kind of work done with it, whether the work is needed or not, right?
Yeah.
And a lawn tractor allows you to do that. It allows you to hop on there and I don't think most people really consider, why am I mowing today, other than they think to themselves, does the lawn need mowed today? Not is there worth in mowing at all?
Yeah.
That's not the question, right?
The lawn was invented for man, not man for the lawn.
And so they, people feel like they're getting something done, and it's relaxing too. I love to listen to podcasts while I'm mowing.
Yeah.
And
I love mowing.
Yeah, I enjoy it. And so then what do you do though when the grass is cut and you can't go and get any closer to the fence with the edge of your deck? Like there's nothing left to mow for 5 days, right? Well, could get a little tow behind 10-foot sprayer that I could hitch up to this lawn tractor, and I could start spraying for dandelions. And then I could start, and so I don't. And then yes, you get the reward of the golf course appearance when you're done. But I think a lot of it is just coming from people that want something to do, where it's kind of work with your hands, kind of operate equipment, something to fuss over, right?
I think that is totally true.
And and back to the timing, like were boomers doing this when they were younger? Well, when they were younger, they had, like me, 4 kids. They limited resources to not be spending on 2,4-D for their lawn, and not buying the latest lawnmower, but just something you had to wrestle with to get it to start every time you went to do it. And I mean, that's how it was when I was a kid. And in fact, my dad couldn't wait to start, putting us on the lawnmower. And so he could be doing whatever else he was busy with at that time. And now you go to my dad's house, and man, he loves mowing the lawn. He's one of the first in his cul-de-sac to have that baby fired up every year. And so and he's retired now. And so I think it probably steps up as the older you get and the more time you have and more resource you have to put into it,
I think that's true. I would say the good side of it is like, if you have more time, you like take care of your stuff.
Yeah.
And that is how a lot of people view their taking care of it. It's like well-intentioned. Like, hey, this is my corner of the world. I want to take good care of it. I want to make sure it's manicured.
Yeah.
I just think we could reframe what taking care of,
definitely.
something. What does it mean to tend the garden?
Yeah.
And because I mean, older people, their houses also tend to be cleaner than, people with kids still at home. Yeah. And so there's that.
The bees are in trouble when somebody comes up with a riding lawn raker.
It's a serious concern right there.
Yeah, they need to find.
I'm not talking about those drag behind lawn sweepers. I'm talking about something you can sit right over top of the riding action. You don't have to worry about a little trailer or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to. Honey, we have made a terrible mistake. I just imagine the bees like talking to each other. We purchased the wrong little tunnel. We need to get out of here. Oh man. Yeah, I just there's a lot of movement on the lawn thing, and I don't have all the answers. I just think we should probably funnel that movement in a direction and not just like, oh, I like care about conservation. I let my lawn grow all the way up and it does whatever it wants. I think being intentional, and I want to be really clear. I'm going to get kicked in the butt for this. I am much less concerned about native, the term native, the idea of native, than I am of ecological health. The thing is, you just can't separate the two. So, but there are some. I mean, the pheasant's one of them. Made a good home, and I think like there's like some of the species that we had mentioned, like not dandelions aren't going to take over the world. No. You know what I mean?
Well, in a way, they already have.
Yeah, so. I mean, well, it's too late. but so with the non-native, I'm just thinking like ecological diversity that helps the flora and fauna that are existing and have existed here for a long time. And so I think we should try and figure out how to do that. Now, I do believe the absolute best thing you can do for your yard and the ecology around it is have a backyard prairie. You can find it at hoxieNativeSeeds.com. Yeah. But a no mow lawn, I think, is not the end of the world, even though it's not native.
Well, you know what? I think Judd asked me last week when he was here working with us, he's like, how often do you just hear Carol in your head? I'm like, yeah, I mean, often, right? Oh, yeah. Or you just look at, it's more of a way of how you start looking at things. You look at them like Carol did, right? And when I think of No Mow May, I used to be a big proponent of that, but then I started thinking Carol would be so concerned about some weed that was growing in that No Mow May weed patch multiplying. Like he wouldn't be worried about dandelions. He'd be worried about wild parsnip or Queen Anne's lace or sourdock or something like that can really get going. And then now it's spreading into places where it's truly, lawn is a habitat value of 0 for most houses, right? But if it spreads into your nice prairie, now you've taken something that has very high habitat value and you've reduced it by allowing a dominating invasive to show up. There's no question that a prairie loaded with wild parsnip that's not good, right? That it lost a lot of its conservation value when that happened. And so there is some responsibility too if you're going to just let things be to try and take care of some of those problems. And I think part of the middle ground on it is do No Mow May in your ditches. Like there's parts of my ditch in front of my house that historically my family always mowed, right? And I'm sure they have to grin and bear it when they drive by now because I don't mow that part of the ditch anymore. I just let it grow. I figure it's a little bit of escape cover. Every now and then you might get a thing of common milkweed coming up in there. But I do on occasion get a nasty invasive that shows up in there. And so then I just turn the 0 turn, go down into the ditch, mow that little patch of whatever it is coming up in there. It's usually that one weird African flower that has like the super long
it's a yellow flower, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It starts with an S. Super long buds.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of it last year.
Like how mullein, kind of the common evening primrose.
No, it's it looks the leaves early on kind of look like Ohio spiderwort, but then they the buds on them are like super long and kind of bulbous. But anyways, I get some of that. So you just go in and mow them because I know they'll take over if I don't get to them.
Yeah.
So you gotta. I mean, it's a little bit of both, but I don't think that the county should be paying to mow every ditch on every gravel road. I think that's a waste of resources, and I think that the wildlife in the area are worse off for it. As a result of it being cut down than letting it grow.
Yeah.
But in yards, there might got to give and take.
What do you think, Riley?
I think I've seen too many prairie species in ditches to rationalize mowing them. If you're coming up to a 4-way intersection and you want to clean up the edges or something, whatever,
it's
but
a safety thing.
The amount of prairie rose and other remnant species I've seen that have been just completely just cut to the ground. Mm-hmm. It's a little shrub that's standing 1.5 inches tall because every month it gets the top whacked off it for no reason on a straight road. I don't know. I can't see the value in it.
I know you've got prairie on the farm. You got any prairie in your yard?
I actually don't. I live on a half acre, and I've done what Kent has done, and I've given up some of my mow area. Like there was a spot along a ditch that the previous owners mowed. It was like 1/10 of an acre, and I just gave it up. But it was so intensively graded for the highway I was by that I haven't found any remnant species out there.
Interesting.
I've got like a prairie section of my property in like a garden where I put plugs, but I don't have like a free ranging backyard prairie.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I found some native species that come up. One of my favorites is carpet vervain. Grows on gravel.
Oh yeah,
that's so cool. I think I showed it to you at my house once. But other than stuff like that, everything, all the prairie in my yard is stuff I've planted. I don't think there's. Kind of like Riley said, when they were digging the ditches out and everything, that soil just got so mixed around and everything. There is some remnant though on the farm in some far corners of the farm and stuff, which is really fun to find new species all the time. But all the prairie in my yard I've planted.
My first house was on like a old brick mason stove factory thing, and so that place was all cleared out, and I'm pretty sure
wait, it was on a
used to be there.
Used to be there.
Yeah. And I mean, old. There's like a little cellar that was like an oven that's still kind of there. It's really interesting. Yeah, but so the only prairie there is
where Nick keeps his stash.
It's just the stash of what? No, don't worry about it.
It's just a stash.
It's like all Pokemon cards. And then the second house, we have like a 8-foot by 8-foot spot that Ezra planted. And actually what I did was what we do, guys, is when we test seed, when we clean seed, we get like a Ziploc baggie, and we have that. And so every time the test runs out, if we still have some on the shelf, we'll take some out of that baggie and go and test it. Well, we had a bunch that we had sold all the seed off the shelf, and we had like 12 little baggies of seed. So I took all of those little baggies of the test seed plus like some backyard prairie or something, and I planted it in this spot. And this would be year 3. So nice. I asked the renter not to mow that area, and so I'm excited to see. I just had him mow it through year 2, which John Judson says that they do sometimes. So I was like, well, just mow through year 2, and then we'll have something pretty year 3.
Yeah, but every little bit helps.
Yeah. If you have any questions on lawns, check out the prairiefarm.com. You can go to the Prairie Farm forum there. We really appreciate you all, and well, we'll talk to you again next time.